The first spot Bitcoin ETFs starting trading 1 year ago on Saturday. Altogether, they've drawn in $36.3 billion in net inflows, according to Strategic Securities. Here to chart that performance and take us through some of the biggest winners and losers, we have Yahoo Finance Markets and Data Editor Jared Blickery. Hey, Jared.
Thank you, Brad. 1 year ago today, the SEC lit a fuse on one of crypto's most important milestones, one that many crypto investors called a holy grail moment: approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF in the U.S. The chair of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, Gary Gensler, who approved the approvals based on years of concerns over fraud and manipulation, he is stepping down next week, making way for a new chair to serve under incoming President Trump. Now, investors have poured over $100 billion into 10 new exchange-traded funds, and key winners have emerged in this winner-takes-most environment. But first, it helps to look back and think about how we got here, and why something as simple as approving a new class of ETFs was so contentious. In 2015, Grayscale Investments, they launched their Bitcoin Trust as an exchange-traded note, or ETN, which is like an ETF, but it could only be legally bought and sold by so-called sophisticated investors. In 2021, the SEC approved ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF, but it was based on Bitcoin futures. And Bitcoin futures-based ETFs, they have issues tracking the actual price of spot Bitcoin. In Gensler's SEC, it refused to approve these ETFs based on it. So in a key decision, Grayscale Investments sued the SEC so that it could convert into a spot Bitcoin ETF. And this would be GBTC, by the way. As the case progressed, the price of Bitcoin surged on any favorable news to Grayscale, which finally won the case on August 29, 2023. The SEC predictably appealed, but lost its battle against Grayscale in mid-October. Bitcoin soared as the SEC neared approval of a suite of new ETFs in November and December, and by the time launch date rolled around on January 13th in 2024, the price of Bitcoin had more than tripled from 50,000, that's 15,000, to 45,000. After that, there was a brief sell the news decline, but 2 months later, in March, Bitcoin touched $70,000 for the first time. And over that time, investors scooped up these new ETFs, and clear winners emerged. The iShares Bitcoin Trust, ticker IBIT, would prove one of the most successful ETF launches in history, measured by investor uptake. Over the last year, investors poured over $37 billion into it, bringing its assets to over $50 billion. Now, Fidelity is a distant but respectable second place, taking in $12 billion, and thanks to Bitcoin's price appreciation, its value is just shy of $20 billion. Grayscale's GBTC is an interesting case. It successfully converted to an ETF based on spot Bitcoin on the big launch date, but investors have mostly been selling it because of its 1.5% management fee, which compares to an average fee of about 0.25%, that's 1/6 Grayscale's amount, for most of the others. WisdomTree's Bitcoin fund under the ticker BTCW has seen the lowest investor flows, around only $230 million, and also joined in the group VanEck, CoinShares, Galaxy, and Franklin. They also investors poured in under $1 billion into each of these. Later in July last year, Ethereum, we haven't mentioned that yet, but Ethereum would have a similar run as a spot Ethereum ETF. That was approved as well, a whole suite. And now, with a full complement of Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs, investors can finally buy into the crypto market with ease in their 401ks, and the stage is set for the next leg of crypto's journey, as former SEC Commissioner Paul Atkins is set to take up the SEC's leadership under Trump. Back to you.
Jared, great breakdown there. Thanks so much, and a great look back as well.